GUI Programming with Python. Let's talk about GUI Programming with Python and the alternatives available. We'll learn about Tkinter, its widgets like buttons, labels, list boxes, scroll bars, and more. A GUI is a graphical user interface. It is a way for users to interact with electronic devices using graphical icons and visual indicators as opposed to text-based user interfaces. Python is a versatile language and we can use it to build a lot of things. To build GUI with Python, we have three options. Tkinter. This is an interface to the Tk GUI toolkit which ships with Python. PyQt is a Python binding of the cross-platform GUI toolkit Qt. This is implemented as a plugin for Python. And WXPython is a wrapper for WX Widgets, which is a cross-platform GUI API for Python. Tkinter is an object-oriented interface to the Tk GUI toolkit. Working with this, we generally have 4 steps to follow. Import the Tkinter module, create a main window for the application we're creating, add as many widgets as we want, then enter the main event loop so the application can deal with an event when it's triggered. So we import Tkinter, create a top window, and enter the main event loop. We save this in a file and call it tkdemo.py. The main window is like a canvas. We can play with widgets on this. And Tkinter has around 19 kinds of widgets to use. Let's start with a button. We have a hello callback function where we use a message box to display a message, and B is a button we place at the coordinates 300 and 100. Clicking this button gives us this. Let's discuss some other widgets we have. A canvas is like a base on which to draw shapes like lines, polygons, and ovals. And a check button is an option we can choose to select or leave. This is nothing but a checkbox. Any number of checkboxes may be selected at once. An entry is a single line input tray where the user can type something, and a frame is a container that can hold other widgets. Labels let us add single line captions for other widgets. A list box is a list of options for the user to choose from. We can add menu buttons anywhere in our window. Clicking this opens more options. And a menu lets us create an entire bar of menu. This can include file, edit, and more. From multiple radio buttons, the user may select only one. And a scale provides a slider for values. We can add a scroll bar to elements larger than the view permits, and text displays text in multiple lines. A top level gives us a separate window container, and a spin box is like an entry field but lets us pick from a fixed number of values. A paned window is a container widget holding a number of panes horizontally or vertically. And a label frame is a container widget holding complex window layouts. Lastly, a Tk message box displays a message box. We've discussed all the widgets of the Tkinter module. Next, let's implement them and see how they work.